Hey! Welcome everyone! Good morning, good afternoon, and good night whenever you watch this presentation video. So, today's topic, we're gonna explain you about the phonological processes. And before we start, I want to introduce myself and all of my beloved friends. So, it is me, I Gede Gargita, with all of my friends. There is Kayla, Devina, and Graciella. We're gonna explain you about the phonological processes. And let us start. Check this out.
Okay, so firstly, when we're talking by means of producing sounds, sometimes one speech may influence another, and as a result, they will become more similar with each other. And those process is called an assimilation. I will explain it more deeply in the next slide. So, in phonological process, there is three kinds of assimilation based on its direction. The first one is called progressive assimilation. The second one is called regressive assimilation. And the third one is called reciprocal assimilation. In progressive assimilation, as you can see, the definition of progressive assimilation is that the sound is influenced by the previous sound. For example, I will show you these two words, washed and clean. Both of these two words ends in the same letter, which is the. However, if you look up to the dictionary and see the transcription, you will see that the two words end with a different sound, like this. For the word washed, it ends with the, and for the word cleaned, it ends with the. Why this happens? The reason is because it is determined by voiced or voiceless sounds. In washed, the sound before the is sh, and because sh is a voiceless sound, we will say washed instead of washed. And the same with the opposite, n in cleaned is a voiced sound, so we will say cleaned. In regressive assimilation, the definition is the opposite of progressive assimilation, if I have to say. In regressive assimilation, the sound is influenced by the following sound. For this type, I'm going to show you two words again as an example. But this time, I will show you its compound words too. For example, in the word note, as you can see here in the transcription, it ends with the sound. But when we compound it with book, which became notebook, we no longer say the sound. It will become very weird when we say notebook. Instead, we say notebook. In the second example, we see the word can. Again, in the transcription, can ends with the sound n. But if I add another word, be, it becomes can be, not can be. We replace n sound with m for easier pronunciation when we are talking with someone in our daily life. The last type of assimilation is reciprocal assimilation. The definition of this type is that reciprocal assimilation is when two sounds blend with each other and become one sound. For example, the word don't you become don't you, not don't you.
Third is voice assimilation. Voice assimilation happens when there are words which are given S or ES, and D or ED, which will produce inflections S, J, is, the, and it. As we have known that inflection is a change of a form of word, usually at the end of the word. We can see the exactly same process through the example given. Cuts, jams, goose, bosses. Based on the process, assimilation is categorized as 6 and many more. The first one is called palatalization. Palatalization is one of the processes which happens when the velar consonant is made partly in the palatal region. The assimilation happens when the anterior or velar sounds are palatalized. For example, nice shirt becomes nice shirt. When the sound us meet the sound sh, we don't have to pronounce the sound us at word nice. The sound us has assimilated by the sound sh at the word shirt. The second is labialization or rounding. Labialization or rounding means when the speaker starts rounding the lips before the articulation of the consonant is completed. For example, pull. The word pull is pronounced pull, as if we produce the sound w because we round our lips. The way you produce the word pull sounds like you pronounce p plus w before the o. Thus, the production of the sound is like pull. It is not the same way as we pronounce put.
Place of assimilation is production of a sound when the last letter of the first word is alveolar, following the bilabial in the next word, and the next first word is assimilated and change alveolar sound into bilabial. Alveolar sound such as the, sh, and j, n, and l, where bilabial sound are p, b, m, and w. For example, you can see at the PowerPoint slide. For example, the first word are dead case. It become the dead case. Alveolar sound in the last word that, followed by bilabial sound c in the next word case. It makes the alveolar sound assimilate and change into the bilabial sound. Manner of assimilation is divided into progressive and regressive assimilation. Progressive assimilation is when the first word is plosive or nasal and followed by the sound in the next first word. It is assimilated as the sound follows the plosive or nasal. Whether regressive assimilation is when the first last sound is plosive become the fricative or nasal. Nasalization is the production of the sound for speech by pushing air out through the nasal cavity. For example, in English there is difference in pronunciation of long E sound in the word sit and sin.
Contrary from assimilation, there is dissimilation in which a sound is made different from the sound next to it. The purpose is to make speech perception easier. For example, this is some word that ended with suffix ar. The first one, angle, plus suffix ar will become angular. Arterial plus suffix ar will become arteriolar. Molecule plus suffix ar will become molecular. Particle plus suffix ar will become particular. And single plus suffix ar will become singular. Next is segment insertion. Segment insertion is a process of inserting a sound segment between two sounds. The purpose is to make speech smooth and easier. For example, when we read this clause, idea of mine, it will be easier for us to read it if we add r between idea and of. So it will become idea of mine instead of idea of mine. Another example, if we read there are 5 books, we can add r between there and are, so it will be there are 5 books. The last is segment dropping. Segment dropping is unpronouncing a sound segment even though the sound is actually represented in the orthographic spelling. For example, when we read the word Christmas, the letter T is not pronounced, so we will read it Christmas, not Christmas. The second, memory, when we read memory, the letter O is not pronounced, so we will read it memory, not memory. Another example is writing. When we read writing, the letter W is not pronounced, so we will read it writing.